There are stories that connect us to ourselves and to each other. These stories reveal who we are and show us the many vivid colors of our truth. Welcome to Soul Wanderings, where we raise spiritual awareness and foster connections through these shared stories and personal experiences. Now, exclusively on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, your hosts, AJ and Natalie.
Hello, Wanderers. Welcome. It is Wednesday night, our favorite night of the week, right?
That's right. So my favorite.
Yes, it is Soul Wanderings night, and we're so excited to be here tonight. As usual, it's our favorite night, like I said, so we can't help but be excited. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Yes.
We are hosted on KGRA Digital Broadcasting, your number one paranormal and alternative talk network. Check out the station at kgradb.com. Check out our show and all of the other many beautiful shows that are hosted here. There's so many. So good.
Yeah.
I say so good a lot. So good. It's so good.
So good. Well, you know, if something works, right? Just keep doing it and doing it.
Yeah, we like it. We like it. So also, you can learn more about myself and Natalie at soulwanderings.com.
We put some info out.
Yeah, there's some stuff going on over there you can check out. And we both share space together at my little healing studio, Vibes, Mind, Body, Spirit.
It's the best smelling place. I tell you what, it smells so good to get
The
in
best smelling place.
My clients are all the time, oh, it smells so good in here.
Can you? Yeah, it's not really a thing over the computer, though.
No.
Smell-o-vision. We
Can't
should
do
have
smell-o-vision.
smell-o-vision. But yeah, what do you do over there, Natalie?
So that's where I see my coaching clients. So I do coaching, life coaching, grief coaching, human design coaching, teach people about living their design. That's my favorite part.
It's so magical. I'm learning so much about myself through the human design because of you.
Yes. Although today I was thinking, I think I'm kind of broken in some ways, not broke like societal sort of thing. Like I was sort of a rebel before, but I'm definitely a rebel. Now I know like how to rebel. That's particular and personal for me. It's like, I'm going to do it my way now. And now I know what that looks like.
Because you're living in your authentic truth.
Mm-hmm.
That feels so lovely.
Good. And the work that I do, I love my work.
And you're just amazing at it.
Thank you.
So good. Natalie has quite the clientele. You help so many people.
Wide variety.
Mm-hmm.
All sorts of ages.
Yes, all ages, all types.
All ages.
It's quite wonderful. And we're so grateful to have you there.
Thank you.
I obviously hold space for others because it's my space. And then I offer crystal healing and art therapy of sorts. And I don't know what else I do there. Hang out.
Yeah.
I get to talk to everyone.
You get to make things happen if they need to happen.
I get to run the facility. I am a worker bee. Although that is not my design.
Nope. You're undergoing your re-education process now, right?
That is not my design according to the human design. However, I really enjoy it. And so I do it because it makes me fulfilled. Makes me feel fulfilled.
And you have worker bees. So you do have both because you do have worker bees working for you.
There's no way I could do it alone.
No.
One of my favorite sayings, teamwork makes the dream work. Yes. And I say it every day on the daily.
There was one day you said, well, anyone that knows me knows that this is what it is. And I'm like, how could I not have known that before this moment? But now I know.
Well, every project we have that's big that I don't do alone, and I have my people helping me, I always say it. So you're probably just not in the space when that happens. You're doing your thing.
Yes.
Because it is a common thing. I think I think people complete my sentence when I start sharing that teamwork makes the dream work.
When they've learned
Even
that about
one of the
you.
employees is like, "Yes, AJ, we know." But it's
It
true.
is very true.
Speaking of teamwork, making the dream work, all of our listeners piling in the chat room.
Yes, there was all kinds of
You guys are awesome.
buzz.
Welcome, welcome to Soul Wanderings. Happy to have you here. So lovely. So lovely. I feel so blessed. We're so
So blessed.
soul wandering with all of you is like good stuff.
Takes a lot of work to be this blessed, my dear.
Yeah. Speaking more of teamwork, we have Chanel behind the scenes, our producer. Let's give a shout out to her because she works her booty off for us.
She does.
She's amazing. All right, moving on. Now that we let you all know, we're in gratitude for you.
Mhm.
Sincerely and thoroughly, we appreciate you. Last week's show was interesting.
It was interesting.
I didn't go back and listen or anything, but I have contemplated on his perception of soul retrieval, our guest, and it was much different than I had originally anticipated,
Definitely.
and also very confusing. The whole situation was very confusing for me. But it was neat, like new perspectives, right?
That's yeah.
I like that.
Exposure to different people's experiences.
And I think that's important in the big scheme of things. We all have a perception.
Yes.
And if you guys didn't go or didn't have the opportunity to hear the interview with Kevin Defers, you can do that. He is a soul traveler, healer, energy specialist. He talks about his own unique expression of consciousness that he calls the pattern. It was just, a different outlook than I think we've ever been familiar
It was
with.
definitely different exposure. But during the week, there was a couple of times that one of the people that had listened that I know was impacted by one of the things he said. And then I don't remember who I was talking to, but there were talking about like war torn and people dying. And then I thought about him actually going and assisting souls that had violent deaths. And I thought, if souls get lost, which they do, it was kind of nice that someone retrieved them.
There is
from the in-betweenness.
You're
from
right.
Getting stuck.
There is a purpose for everyone.
Yeah.
Every single one of us, we all have a purpose and a calling in life.
We get to show up when we're called.
If we choose to show up, that's what we do.
That's
what we do.
Go check it out on the replay.
Yeah. Definitely check it out. You can check out the replay by going to kgradb.com. If you head over to the shows and hosts and go to Soul Wanderings, there's actually a couple of buttons there that you can choose to get different discounts for a membership if you decide to do that, whether it's a week trial or a discount off of a monthly or an annual membership. Click on that. It helps support our show, Soul Wanderings, and of course the station. Got to support the station.
Got to keep the station going. It's hard to do this without a station.
Yes. Speaking of everyone has a purpose and a reason, let's talk about Whisper Wednesdays. I've had some people bring up questions like we've talked about it briefly. I didn't even really bring it up last week. I think we ran out of time.
Yes.
So we have this beautiful beginning baby process that we're starting with all of you, and it's called Whisper Wednesdays voicemail. And the number for it is 801-686-8214. And if you're watching live, you can see it flash across the screen here at the bottom. And what the purpose of the Whisper Wednesdays voicemail is like having a safe place to share your innermost thoughts and feelings and not even having to say who you are. It's like a safe place where you can get that energy out of you through your voice and leave with us. And like, we won't know who you are unless you share that. But also, we will selectively choose messages to play on air in hopes to assist other people, inspire, motivate. It depends on what you share. Some people may have heavier things to share, and we may learn a lesson from that. And some people may have a quote that they share that brings us some sort of aha moment or inspiration. But the point of the voicemail is that you get to share whatever it is that you feel called to share. So if you have a secret, if you have a thought on your mind, if you have a story to share, a book recommendation, whatever that looks like, you can share there with us.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see if we can get like prime the pump or something. I was thinking as I was getting ready to come to the studio, I was like, if I were to call the Whisper Wednesday line, I would probably share some of my Zen-a-day quotes or that some of the things that I just read or that type of stuff, because I like to share inspirational things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's a good way to connect with us also, right? So
yes,
the fun thing about it is if you want to reach out and talk to us, like you can totally do it that way.
yes,
Where, normally on air, it's not like we always have the lines open. You can just call in and have a chit chat with us, but this way you can.
yes. It's fun.
Yeah.
Give us a call. Give us a reason to share on air.
Yeah. We've actually had some calls, but they've just hung up.
Oh.
So I think people have called and then I don't know.
Do we need to redo?
So I think it's really,
keep it up. Keep coming.
So we just want to share with you, this is going to be a really great place for all of us to connect and share all of the beautiful things that we feel called to share with one another.
Yes.
I see a lot of that in the chat room.
Oh, the sharing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. But again, the number is 801-686-8214, and that's for Whisper Wednesday's voicemail. And if you don't want us to share, just state that. Just say, hey, I want to share with you and Natalie only, not with an audience.
Keep it a secret.
Yeah.
We will not whisper that around.
Yeah, no.
We're good at secrets.
Well, it's part of the job.
It's true.
The job, if you will.
Yes.
Even though it's not really a job. It's kind of a descriptor word. That's not really what it is for us. It's not work.
Calling experience. What else could we call it? It's fun.
A calling.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Speaking of a calling, you're so natural at Natalie Nuggets.
So
Natalie,
I get
Nuggets. Natalie Nuggets.
It's been interesting today. I just my intuition does bring me a lot of the things. So I was pondering, trying to just hit on something that resonated. And finally, I wasn't sure what it was going to be, but this is what I hit on. We are, as humans, experiential beings, which means, or to say it in a different way, we really understand most what we experience. So there's a lot of education, reading, concepts, books. We have people on the show that have their own experience. They've written a book and they have their perspective on life. So that's their experience. They understand it. And then there's intellectual knowledge where we think we know. But that's not the same level of knowing that if you actually put it into practice and you start to experience it. So you take a concept of consciousness or spirituality or being human or psychology or even just practical, like building a shed or a deck. Until you do it, it doesn't there's so much that is revealed by the actual doing of a thing or practicing a concept that you may read about, changing a habit, working to reach a goal. Sometimes I don't know why, but right now I'm thinking about goals because I don't really set goals. And we kind of talked about this on resolutions.
We talked about that, in the beginning of the year.
Even in goals, that's that isn't how setting a goal isn't exactly how I've achieved in my life. My life is really very much unfolded for me. And I couldn't have set a goal to achieve the things that kind of come to me that way. So I think that was one of the things I was contemplating about. Like, I think I may be a little broken as far as rebelling against that. Going, I'm not sure
That's
that
where
I
that's
could
coming from.
yes, that I could set myself a goal that actually gives me as much as the universe brings me.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong about that concept, but that's kind of where that's my personal perspective on it.
Yeah.
So we really, as humans, understand what we experience. And so, in some ways, that leaves us a little limited because we can only experience what we experience.
Right. And
Um,
from our own perception of our experience.
right. But the beautiful things about like soul wanderings is that we bring light to multiple people's experience. And in that, it's broadening the whole perspective, the human nature. We get a broader perspective
Mm,
of what different people can experience. That's my nugget. How was that?
that's a good nugget.
So go out and have experiences.
Go make the experiences happen.
Yes.
That's a great nugget. I stepped outside of I don't know if I would call it a comfort zone, but I did have an experience yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, okay, so, wow, we're learning so much about me this year with you here, and I'm not just talking to myself.
Right.
So, I'm not really one to get out and go do things and go, like, hang out with friends and be around people. I work and I go home. And not that I'm boring, because I have experiences at home. I have a ton of hobbies. I'm an artist. I'm a creator. So I'm always doing something at home. And it's my happy place. Like, I've made it a sanctuary. So why would I want to be anywhere else? Especially when right now, like, the energy, I just don't want to be around random people.
Yeah,
It's just not for me.
yeah.
And I can't even say right now, that's just been a thing for many, many years.
You're like, but still right now.
However, I did go to dinner with a friend last night,
Oh, yeah?
and we sat and talked for, like 3-4 hours.
I love those kind of dinners with
It
friends.
was amazing. It was amazing. And that's not something I normally do. And I thought, oh, we'll go to dinner. We'll be like an hour, hour and a half, and I'll go home.
Mm-mm.
It'll just, I'll do they asked me and they've been asking me. So I finally was like, okay. But it ended up being quite enjoyable and I had a lovely time. And then I reached out to another, I wouldn't say friend quite yet, acquaintance who I've had experiences with and scheduled some time. Like, I'm working on scheduling some time with her. And I thought, wow, who is this?
What am I doing?
But it's very selective. However, I am creating those experiences that are not ones that I would normally partake in.
That's, what's interesting is I've been pondering that myself. I work a lot. Like, my work is very enjoyable. So I do a lot of work. It's in my nature to as well. But I think lately I've been missing, and it's been really intense the last year or year and a half where I've worked a lot of hours. And it's like, I think I'd like to just have some chill time with friends.
Okay.
Just get to be Natalie.
That's all you have to say to me. I've got
Just
you,
like we're
girl,
on.
because I will cook the dinner and we will bring
Okay.
the people and we will have the gathering.
Let's do it.
That I can do. That is my favorite thing.
Yes. So friends on a more regular basis, so I could just be Natalie instead of like what I do professionally.
Yeah.
I get to just unwind, and although I still do that a lot, I still do bring myself. The last time we were getting together, remember that time I was the entertainment. I was like, let me just entertain you with things like the design or other things that I
Chanel.
find fascinating.
Yes, I think that would be fantastic. What are you doing Friday night after your
After
human
my class?
design?
I don't have plans, so let's do it. I guess I'm
Chanel's
gonna come
bringing
over
dessert. Who else is coming to my house?
Right after my class.
Yeah, I think it's really neat though, because I don't know if it's a habit or a cycle, or we just get in like a groove where we're just
Routine.
routine. It is routine, yes. I
We-
mean, technically the definition would be a routine, but you don't see outside of that. Like, you don't even think that there could be other experiences, you know? And we weren't sent here to have this human experience just to work it away, yet we're so conditioned to do so.
Mhm.
And we somewhat have to work because how
They
else
pay
are
the
we going
bills.
to live, right?
Right.
And so that is just another case in point right there, how important it is to do something you love if you're going to be doing it that
Oh,
much.
yes. I didn't realize when I was much younger exactly the truth of find something you love
Mhm.
and the money will follow.
Mhm.
But life is a long process and you have to kind of build.
Is it though? Or is it like
Well,
blink?
lately, I think January is like a blink. Can you believe it's
January.
like
No.
almost done?
No.
Where did January go?
And the older you get, the
Yes.
faster it moves.
I heard a maybe an interpretation, maybe the right word, for why time goes faster. See if I can get this right. As you get older, because you've had so many more memories and so many more years that's versus when, like, say, a teenager with only 13 years of experience,
Hmm.
their time just, so it would seem like time would go slower for someone that was younger
Mhm.
because it's the volume of time is different.
That's a different perception.
Yeah, that made some sense to me. Why it went fast, 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 because there's so much more.
Mhm. I always heard that when I was little, like, you appreciate being a kid because when you get older,
So true.
time is going to go by so fast and all you're going to do is work. And I thought, I'm not going to do that when I get older.
I'm going to be different than you.
Yeah, I'm not going to work my life away.
No.
Not happening to me. Because when
Adulting.
you're a kid, you know everything.
I know, it's so true until it's not. And then you get old and you're like, I really don't know anything. The more that I think I know, the more I realize I don't.
Yeah, it's true. Facts. It's facts. I don't know anything.
Mm-mm.
Very, very little. However, it is really neat rediscovering myself. And when I say rediscovering, like in this human experience, like discovering for the first time, but rediscovering as in my soul.
Oh, so this was a
That's
lovely
been
thing
fun.
that I was having a conversation with someone yesterday. And I was talking about one of the Zenade quotes that is on the calendar that was
Mhm.
about the how this woman's daughter showed her the beginner's mind and the beauty of an orange. Her
Mm.
little young daughter, like, one, the beauty of an orange. And so I was telling this gentleman that I was talking to yesterday, and how the word adult, like adulteration, and how it changes you and alters the perspective. So you no longer have that youth or young beginner's mind as you
Mm.
grow adult and maybe jaded.
Yeah.
And then he talked about the word renaissance, which is a rediscovery. It's like a renewal.
Interesting.
Yeah. So here you are in your renaissance.
I suppose so.
It sounds really lovely if you can say some French word.
Mhm. And I feel like, you just had a birthday. My birthday's coming in March, and I feel like the beginning of the year every year, I feel like that it's not like a new year thing because that's not what it is, but it's like an awareness that I have another year.
It makes sense.
And then I'm
But
like,
it's more focused around
where-
the birthday.
where was I last year at this time, and how much have I grown since then?
Oh my.
And it's,
How much have you grown since last year?
girl, let's talk about that another time.
Were there growing pains?
This last year was I've had worse years. I've had worse years. This year was very introspective, though. You know what I mean? Like I went internal this time and really like wanted to know the purpose and meaning behind the experiences instead of being in the experience. I want to know why and how and what am I to learn from this and how am I going to grow from this? And it was much more in depth, but with that came a lot of healing.
Yes.
And it wasn't easy. It hasn't been easy, but beautiful all the same.
Yes. Once you go inside, like that, I was surprised about the depth of the insideness. It's so vast on an inside world, that inner world. And then to unpack it and to clean it up and to de-junk it is a lovely thing.
Yeah.
Eliminating your emotional baggage is a very beneficial experience.
It's so good.
It's a lot easier than you think.
Yeah, definitely. And my journey started this whole experience started about 10 years ago. And we'll get into that after the break.
Oh.
Not into my journey in particular, but like
about
it has
journeys?
Something to do with the topic that we're talking about.
That's lovely.
With our guest. We will have a guest in the second hour. And I'm really excited about this guest.
I'm excited to listen to him too. Because he has grief is one of his aspects that he works in. So I'm always open to hearing more and different perspectives on grief to broaden my own.
Yes. All right, everyone. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Are you looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small, esoteric getaways are limited and do fill up fast. So, go to MysteriousAdventureTours.com and book your trip soon.
Are we alone in the universe? The most important question facing humanity is on the verge of being settled once and for all. The Mutual UFO Network has been at the forefront of this journey for nearly 50 years. Our members worldwide are dedicated to the research, documentation, and awareness that will shape the future of humanity. Won't you join us?
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Hello, everyone. We have these
We're back.
conversations during commercial break.
Yes. We're like, and we're back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were listening and then we weren't.
Right.
Hi, welcome back to Soul Wanderings. I'm AJ and this is Natalie. And tonight we are going to be having a guest who's going to be sharing with us about grief, consciousness, more consciousness talk.
Well, we like consciousness talk.
And I love it. And near-death experiences. My favorite topic in the world.
I want to hear more about near-death experiences.
So that's one of the things that I've been doing this past year. So I know a lot of people already know that I had an NDE. It's been 11 years now, and 11 years next month.
Wow.
And yeah, crazy.
Mm.
My whole beforehand my life was nothing like it is now. This was not on my radar. Like what I do now, the spiritual shop, the radio show, anything spiritual, I was like not even having it. No, not even close. But also, even after the fact that it happened, there were many years that I didn't understand what happened. And I kept it very close to me. There was only like, I don't know, a couple of people that even knew I had this experience. And I kept it very close. Like it wasn't something that you just talk to people about.
No.
And it wasn't until probably the last, I would say 6-7 years where I started being more open about my experience, but never really sharing it completely and fully. There have been moments where I've shared like bits and pieces of it, but I've never really like shared like the beginning to the end.
Mm.
And the last 2 years in particular, and especially the last year, I've really dug in deep with the end of life studies and also near-death experiences. And then this last year, shared death experiences, because they became in my awareness. And when I get fixated on a topic, I really like want to learn everything about it. And I want to hear what everyone's been through, and I want to know what their thoughts and feelings are about it. And you can get online and you can read and see so much these days, right? And so
Right.
I've just had hours and hours and hours and hours of videos and books, and just having my mind just, and also finding so much comfort and peace in knowing that what I experienced was not just something that I experienced. Not that I ever felt that it was, maybe in the moment, but as the years went by, of course, I wasn't naive to think that I was the only one that would be silly.
All right.
I haven't really met anyone who's had, like in person. I've had many guests share their NDE, but I like in person where I could sit down and actually have this conversation with someone and really dive into their experience and my experience and see what the similarities were or what the differences were, because everyone's experience, although there are similarities, they're so different from each other. And they're all just so beautiful and fascinating. And yet I also still stumble to find the words to describe the experience that I've had.
Well, I think words are kind of a limited construct for consciousness.
Right. You're right. And also, I've always felt like I don't need to find the words or share my experience with anyone. And not in a rebel sort of way, Natalie. Miss Rebel over there.
Not the same kind of rebellious nature that I have.
No, just in it. That's my experience.
It's more
and
of an
the more
intimate.
I've shared it,
yes,
I feel like it's taken away from it for me.
For you?
And I know there are people who share and share and share and share. Like our guest tonight, he shares with thousands of people, and his story is quite amazing. and I think it's wonderful that he's put himself out there for him. And I've been interviewed. I've shared parts of my story with people, but it's never been like a thing where I've just laid it all out there on the.
So do you not want to be like mainly identified for that?
I don't think that has anything to do with
Oh.
it. I just think it was such a special
Oh,
and traumatic experience that I've just always kept it close.
maybe that's part. Sometimes people have NDEs that don't really have a trauma with it,
Mm-hmm.
that it's different.
Yeah.
I can tell you that there's a woman that comes regularly to one of my grief groups, and she had an NDE when she was a teenager,
Mm-hmm.
and she has shared it a few times to the group,
Mm-hmm.
and the group found it very healing.
I feel like in
to
that
hear.
situation, in that environment, absolutely. And I have shared it with people where I intuitively felt that they would be comforted by it in
Sure.
their experience they were having, and I have. But the topic in and of itself is just ineffable.
Yes.
How do you describe such a profound experience? It's just amazing. So I'm
It is
really
amazing.
excited to talk to our guest tonight about it because of his experience.
Oh, yes.
And actually his experience happened when he was quite young,
Oh,
which is even more interesting to me.
that has definitely shaped your life. Look how it shaped your life
Mm-hmm.
after your experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See, part of that experience, things that we were talking about, you can't unknow it. Once you've experienced something, you can't unknow it.
Exactly. I
And-
think that was part of the trauma
Oh,
that the
so it's like you
aftermath.
broke.
I did break. I absolutely did break after that.
There's quite something when our paradigm shatters.
Mhm. They call it dark night of the soul when people go through stuff like this, and maybe that was my dark night of the soul. I don't know. I never really titled it, right? So I've never had that knowing of what happened afterwards, but yeah, my whole reality and my whole life as I knew it fell apart. I really did rebuild from that moment on. I
Well-
didn't know what else to do.
Well, what else could you do?
Yeah.
That's how we get guided through life. See, it was one of the things why goals sometimes is just not in some big things, in some big scheme things, we can't plan how we're going to expand,
Mhm.
nor would we put ourselves through the experiences that are the most, how do I want to say it? The things that explode us. We generally wouldn't ride into our experience. So
Mhm.
maybe we sign ourselves up pre-life for that, because once we're here, we would be like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just gonna not have that
Right.
happen,
Right.
or this other thing happen, or
No, I couldn't agree more because I feel like having my ND was the catalyst. It was the explosion, if you will, in my life that needed to happen
Mm.
to guide me in the path of my dharma, of my life. I'm meant to be exactly where I am right now, and I know that wouldn't have happened if I would have stayed where I was when it took place,
right.
in that thought system, in that belief system, or non-belief system, if you will. I was just coasting. I was just floating along life with no real belief system or no real structure in my life. I was just existing. I really believed that we came here and it was like lights out, party over when we were done.
After
There was nothing.
Hmm.
And how empty, like I look back and I'm like, wow.
I can't.
Like I just send my old self so much love. Like I was just so not here. And my life now is filled with so much purpose and meaning. And I look at things, experiences, people like material possession. Like everything is so different than where I was then.
I was just reading a little bit before earlier today, and there was a little things that I hope to grasp. So in this book, it was talking about how it wasn't really talking about the waking up process, but the consciousness, and really as we go through particular experiences, then we are no longer like sleepwalking through life. We're awake. And that's the part you can't undo when you wake up. And that's part of why it can be so difficult, and it can really throw you into sometimes a dark night, or you just like break open into a whole nother world after experiences like that.
It was both.
Yes. And then it could be so you go from where, life ends and it goes black and we're just doing this thing, to boom, there's like so much more. It's so profound. It's like a foreign landscape. And then you're shown so much. And I bet that was quite the assimilation or acclimation process to the knowledge that you had gained through your experience. Just like, wow.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't understand it at the time either. Like things
you didn't
that
have
were
a framework, did you, for
No,
that? You
I
didn't even know what words to put to it because you didn't have a framework.
correct.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and the things that were shared with me were so confusing because I was like, what? Like what? What does that mean? I don't even understand what you're saying. And it wasn't until years later when people, places, and things came onto my pathway that I was like, oh, because I knew that my guides were placing them for me. They were helping me along the way. So I was on the path that I was meant to be on.
So it reminds me,
which was told to me would happen. And I was like, I didn't understand. What does it remind you of?
Well, it's you can't know like that in that moment. You definitely were a beginner's mind in that moment. So you were
Yes.
definitely like kindergarten. Like a kindergartner cannot understand what someone that just graduated from high school
Exactly.
or college. So
Exactly.
it's so really truly allowing ourselves to be guided and knowing it's so long. The journey, as they say, the journey really is the destination. It is really about the journey, and there is nowhere to get to. Even that place is not a destination either.
Right.
It's another aspect of the journey.
That never ends.
Never ends.
This is the song that never ends. And it's so true.
You're going to get that stuck in people's heads now.
You're welcome. We're supposed to have fun.
We do have fun.
But from your point of view, where you actually facilitate grief groups, and especially like suicide loss groups, and you're working with people who are here weaving their way in and out of the grief journey, how does that work from your experience?
That in particular to like life after death kind of concepts. I've had people, I remember this one gentleman came through my suicide loss group, and he actually, so he was in my 8-week course, and then in the middle of that 8 weeks he had a experience with a psychic medium where his wife who died talked to him, and it was so profoundly healing to hear that she was okay. So there is definitely an ache, a concern that their loved one is okay, especially surrounding suicide, and then all the conflicting teachings and things that are around suicide. So he was quite healed with that. And then I have some people that say, I don't know. They get nervous about knowing. There's questions about what it's really like. Are they okay? And we do a lot of conversations about how So I have a framework that I talk about how spirits communicate with us. So
Mhm.
one of the things that I'll educate people about is, so when you die, you drop the body. So
Mhm.
communication from the other side can't be through voices or touch, not the same. So you have to develop a relationship, even a relation or a concept of thought that has to do with, if someone is communicating me to or words with me from the other side, they're going to communicate in a different way than a body would communicate.
Right.
I also teach them that, those bouts, that wave of grief that you start crying just kind of really out of the middle of nowhere. Maybe that's your loved one touching you, talking to you, whispering to you, showing up into the room that you're in.
Mhm.
And then you feel them through your body, like on a deep level.
Mhm.
So that's some of the things that we talk about. It's amazing how many times people have all new experiences with coins and feathers and butterflies and lights. Like they can blink lights all the time.
Right.
It's really fascinating.
Right.
So that's
Well, the reality of go ahead.
that's part of how, like, getting assured that there is more beyond here.
Mhm.
Then I also people will try to bring together what they would learned in the religious aspect and then what they're experiencing now that their loved one has died, because that's a pretty profound experience. And it's really interesting because doubt enters a lot then.
Oh yeah.
You're just like, but where are they? How
Mhm.
does this work? What they taught me about heaven and hell doesn't, is my loved one going to be in hell? And that doesn't really resonate. And there's all kinds of extra questions that
Mhm.
come up,
Right.
where people that have had the near-death experiences are really helpful. People will do a lot of reading of books that have been written, and
Mhm.
it's reassuring. But it
Yeah.
doesn't give them knowledge like you
No.
have because
No.
you experienced it.
I think there's truth to that also. The most beautiful and profound thing that I find and have found comfort in since then is that we don't just die and that's the end of it. Right? There is purpose and meaning to our experiences here and our lives before and our lives after. And that those are facts for me as well now. Where before I'd never believed that to be anything.
That's interesting because I've never, I think all my life I've just always known. Like for me, reincarnation was just always been for as long as I can remember, it
Mhm.
just is for me. So it's really fascinating and I have some friends that are like, nope, it's just done. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, that doesn't make sense to me.
This is where I get contradictive with myself because my whole life I've had spiritual experiences. I
Oh,
just didn't understand that's what they were, right?
okay.
So even working like I'm pretty sure everyone knows like my experiences with shadow people by this point. After 6 years of doing the show, I've shared quite a bit about my experiences with those types of energies. And I just never understood like why or what they were.
Not
Right.
in the same way.
No, not in the same way. Nothing was in the same way. So and plus the intuition that I have, the claircognizance that I have, just all of these little things along the way that I just kind of just chewed off like, coincidence
Hmm.
or whatever was never like I wanted to believe in something different, but I just didn't know what that looked like or what that was. And so I went to all different types of churches. I went to all different types of groups. Like I wanted to believe in something, but because my analytical side didn't have the proof, didn't have didn't have any experience otherwise, it wasn't real. It
So
just couldn't be.
it's really fascinating because I will hear people with that kind of a similar concept
Mhm.
throughout my groups and working with people where they're like, you don't have any proof, even though you've had all these experiences. So what
Right.
does proof? That's
Right.
then my question is like, what's
It's a
proof
different
if
train of
your
thought.
experiences are not some sort of
Mm-mm.
proof? It's like, isn't
Yeah.
that empirical? Like it is a actual thing that happened. How
Right.
come
And
that
that's
isn't
where it
proof?
gets confusing.
I know.
And that's why, like, I go back and try to analyze the heck out of my situation, my experience,
Oh,
all of them, because there's so many times that spirit showed up in my life and for me that
so
I didn't understand at the time that's what was happening,
sure,
if that makes sense. Like,
it
and
does.
I know I'm not alone in that. I think a lot of us, if we were to really look at certain situations that we've been in and experiences that we've had, how many times that we were guided, directed, supported, loved, held in healing, held in compassion by spirit.
Right. Right. So one of the things that I want to mention in the backward looking,
Mhm.
when we look backwards to our life, I just want to remind everyone that with the eyes that we have now, they're wiser eyes. And you're looking backward at someone that didn't have the experiences and the wisdom that you've done.
Mhm.
So if you're looking backward, analyzing, send some of that wisdom back to your younger self.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
so you didn't know this, but let me just tell you. And in some ways, we might find that we're our own guides.
You're
Like
right.
we're the person
You're
sending,
absolutely
because it's
right.
all now anyway. So we're the ones. So there's times where we're older and wiser, and then we are the guide that supported our younger self because it's all now. It's really fascinating to think about
Mhm.
it that way.
It really is. And that's helped me so much in healing past traumas and experiences of just going to that space and time and just loving the heck out of myself.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Ooh, that just gives me chills just as you say that.
it's
Oh, love the heck out of yourself. Your younger self needs it. That person went through all of that for you to be this wise.
for me to even be here today.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
My-
what's incredible.
My younger self. Oh my. She was a mess so many times. And I'm like, well, thank you for helping me look really wise now.
True facts.
Yeah, true fact.
That is so correct. So yes, so excited for our guest tonight because of the topics, of course, at hand, but learning about him as a person is going to be really cool. And he also wrote a book called Life After Breath. And he shares experiences and stories in that book that even from past lives, which is really cool.
Oh, yes.
And it's just all the stuff that we love talking about,
It's, yes,
which makes for a good time
it does make for a good time.
and
Good
beautiful,
radio.
beautiful conversations.
It does.
And connectedness. And we love that. It is Soul Wanderings after all. So, all of you stay close with us through the second hour. We will be visiting tonight with Jacob Cooper, and he'll be talking to us about his book, Life After Death, mental health, mindfulness. He'll definitely be giving us some of his nuggets, Natalie.
Mhm. And I can just maybe adopt some of that wisdom and it'll be deepen the nuggets.
I'm pretty sure we're going to learn quite a bit from him. So stay close, everyone. We'll be back here shortly with our guest.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Are you looking looking to go on a faraway journey that is magical and mysterious, reaping on mystical legends? If so, then Mysterious Adventure Tours is perfect for you. Imagine a voyage to explore ancient mysteries of Ireland, haunted majesties of Scotland, or their chilling Birth of the Vampires in Romania. These small, esoteric getaways are limited and do fill up fast. So, go to MysteriousAdventureTours.com and book your trip soon.
Are we alone in the universe? The most important question facing humanity is on the verge of being settled once and for all. The Mutual UFO Network has been at the forefront of this journey for nearly 50 years. Our members worldwide are dedicated to the research, documentation, and awareness that will shape the future of humanity. Won't you join us?
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected, only at kgradb.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soul Wanderings. We are hosted here on KGRA Digital Broadcasting. You can find out more about the show and all of the other many wonderful shows hosted here on the station by visiting kgradb.com. You'll also be able to check out the behind the scenes content with a free weekly membership. And if you decide to support our show and the station, be sure to go over to our page, Soul Wanderings, and click on one of the links to receive one of the mini discounts. There's a few over there where you can save some money, and you can also support us in the process and the station.
We like support.
Yes. Well, we get lots of support every week. It's beautiful. But if that tickles your fancy, we invite you to do so. Without further ado, we'd like to welcome our guest tonight. It's Jacob Cooper, and he's a best-selling author of Life After Breath and The Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder. He's also a sought-after speaker on grief, wisdom, and consciousness, offering meditation and mindfulness seminars to help others find purpose and overcome fears of life after death. Hello, Jacob. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi, could you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we
Yes.
can hear you great.
Great. I was eavesdropping on your conversation, and it just it almost seemed like I was listening to my own interview that I was doing. In prior interviews, it's like the same exact vocabulary and same experiences, and it's very affirming to kind of see the universality behind experiences and how we're living in different parts of the world, but there's an undeniable interconnectivity that we all possess. Really.
We're all human.
Yeah.
Yes, that's so true. And I love that you were able to feel that in our conversation and have that validation in your own experiences. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm just excited to join on this. This is great dialogue, and I love the way you approach all things afterlife and this life. I think it's beautiful.
Nice.
It absolutely is, if you allow it to be.
Sometimes you need to have be shook a little.
Sometimes you need to have an experience like we've had. So, well, we're really excited to have you on the show, Jacob. Thank you, first of all, for being here with us tonight. This hour's going to fly by. We're pretty sure of it.
Yes.
But we're
Always
excited
does,
to get to know you better and learn about you and your experiences and what you're doing now because of them. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Like you, I had a near-death experience at a very young age that profoundly changed my personal and professional trajectory of the life that I'm living today. But professionally, I work full-time as a licensed clinical social worker, and I have a practice. I even work in a psychiatric hospital as well too. And like you said in the intro, I've written one book, Life After Breath, and I have my next book coming out, The Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder, in the next couple of days with my publisher. But I also do a lot of hypnosis, particularly past life regression therapy. I do a lot of seminars, and I was listening to some of the grief support groups that you guys do. So I've worked with places like the Forever Family Foundation, which has been featured on Netflix's Surviving Death, which is an excellent documentary.
Yes.
If you've ever watched that, and done workshops for the International Association for Near-Death Studies and helping parents heal. So I don't have an ideal listener. I think if you've got a brain, you've got a body, and you have a readiness to change. I think we're all one and the same. We just want to plant the seed and help others really grow this foundation stronger. That's what it's about.
Right.
Just giving back. But I think it's in a way the God actualization is to be of service. When we're really giving and making an impact, that's when we really feel divinity. I think some people look for it in thousands of miles away, and you could find that. But if you turn inward and come from this real place of giving and unconditional love, it's amazing how you could find that spark of divinity within the life that you live and the impact that you have.
I love that. God actualization.
Right.
Quote that. I'm still in that one.
and helping people with their stories. I've written 2 books, and that's like a literal way to have story. But I know I come from the Jewish faith, a bit about me, and I know this week is Holocaust Remembrance Week, and on Friday it's Holocaust Remembrance Day. But a Holocaust survivor who won the Nobel Peace Prize, Elie Wiesel once said that God makes us because God loves stories.
I believe that.
We're here to really help out each other's stories and to rewrite it in maybe a higher way. And so to not have life kind of interpret our stories, but our ability to interpret life in our own way, that's our greatest freedom that we could have. So if someone could survive the concentration camps and come up with that, so too we could really transform and transcend what comes our way. All things are possible. Change.
Jacob just gave me goosies.
That's a good thing to have goosies.
No, that felt really good. Thank you.
That's powerful perspective.
Well, thank you. Yeah. No, I think that's a sign that you're very in tune too. Because sometimes when we're thinking about this, that's good too. But I think feeling, that's the language of intuition, right, in our soul, and you can't deny feeling. That's real. You can't, undeniable. So yeah.
Is that proof though?
I don't know. I mean, as a therapist, I think in a way we could change how we feel. I think to a certain degree, our thoughts sponsor our feelings, sponsor our emotions, which lead to our behaviors. But I think sometimes we've kind of been taught to be skeptical of ourselves and to just kind of doubt that for various different reasons. But that's a very important place to start. And you just wonder how many lives would be different if we were able to really trust that we really could have understandings of the GPS of our lives, and it's all within,
Amen to that.
I was just about to say the same thing. Yes. I'm sure many shows you go in depth and share the details of your NDE and how it happened and what took place. And I think that's great. And I want to know, and I'm sure the listeners want to know that as well. But
Right.
for time's sake, you do share that in your book, correct?
Yes, and and I know you mentioned the term dharma early on. I was listening to you, but
Mm.
within my book, Life After Breath, that's kind of my karma. That was the story of my near-death experience and how I lived with that experience. But the wisdom of Jacob's Ladder is more of my dharma. That's more of my meaning and my purpose beyond my NDE. And so I think it's the same thing that I work with my clients. And, if I'll give an example, something traumatic happens to you, not necessarily your fault, but what you come out of that, is your responsibility. And so I had my NDE and I can't change the narrative of events, but I know each and every day is another way to really not necessarily change what happened, but to look at it through a different lens. And I think consciousness is dependent on the vantage point of we look at things. And as we're increasing consciousness, as we're increasing the lens of our soul, we could see things through a much broader and deeper perspective. And so the NDE might have happened 30 years ago, but it feels like it's happening, it's very current in each day that I live.
Mhm.
That makes so much sense.
Uh,
At least to me. I
It's
don't know about you.
it's guiding principle.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
I haven't had an NDE, but I've been so interesting. Oh, my intuition just told me just now that my near death experience was me being near death, not me near dying. I have near death experience because I've been near death multiple times.
But
As it
in the work you do.
someone else is dying. Even my personal
Right,
life,
right.
being near someone with someone as they're dying is my near death experience. I'm like,
Right.
that's profound. Whoa,
That would be
wow, that's
more
big.
of like a shared death experience.
Shared death. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I'm close with Dr. Raymond Moody, who coined the term near-death experience in his best-selling book, Life After Life. But Raymond, I think, was once asked about near-death experience and shared-death experiences, and he said he's blown away by both. But he said shared-death experience blow him away maybe more because near-death experience, the body isn't working. You could come up with like hallucinations, that kind of stuff, which obviously has been debunked on countless occasions. But a shared death experience, your physical body is working totally fine, and yet you join that loved one when they're crossing over, that pet, or so all your everything's working fine, but you have this incredible transcendence of your spirit to join that loved one, and people come back totally transformed and changed.
Mhm.
My viewpoint of it is we have these different, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. We have these different sects and categories of all these things. I see that more of like a human thing.
Yes.
But to me, it's all the same kind of stuff. It's like the
Mhm.
similar result. And so I think for listeners, many people come to me and I don't know if you experience this, but they're left like feeling inspired, but also they feel very distant and they can't be empowered. And they're like, oh my God, you've had this. I haven't had that. But I think the globe has had a near-death experience. If you look at the pandemic the last couple of years, I mean, that same framework of an NDE could be applied to us on a global basis, where this foundation that we're standing on was all of a sudden rocked and this plug was pulled out of the wall that we were in. And all of a sudden, we either kind of have continuity of pain and suffering, or we surrender to a greater pathway to navigate that. And I think that was a saving grace, at least in my NDE, was I was suffocating due to whooping cough at a very young age. And so it felt like eternal suffering. But I recognize, yes, that suffering was what I was experiencing, but it's not the full totality. And to overcome suffering, I had to let it go and allow this greater truth to come forward. And I recognize that suffering is a human thing, but eternally it doesn't exist. Once you go there, it's eternal light, eternal love, and you can never be damaged nor harmed. And that's all that there is. And so I love, like, I'm a big Wayne Dyer guy, and people would ask him, Wayne, like a question about consciousness and our lives. And he said, well, it's kind of like when you take an orange. You take an orange out, you squeeze it out, you just get orange juice. And you take you, who you are, squeeze that out. Do you have a body left? Do you have grievances towards others left? Do you have none of that is left. All that's left is who you are. Who you are is something that we continuously define each and every day, but hopefully for people they can understand that that is a loving being inside there that's cannot be damaged and that's eternal at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yes, that's the goal.
To remember that essence and to
Yes.
live from that vantage point. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
beautiful place to live from.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Although your NDU was 30 years ago, as you said, and you've been living your life with that in your heart since, what are some of the biggest ways that you have been influenced by your experience and how they've altered the course of your human experience?
That's a great question. I would say it's everything. For why I say that is in moments that I had in NDE, I was completely at the abyss of existence. I mean, I wasn't able to breathe. I was just really suffering through this suffocation. And so when I lost my physical breath, I was reminded of the eternal breath of eternity that we all have inside of us. And I was given an awareness of eternal life. And so I guess after that, I recognized, wow, this is a beautiful place to remember. And I saw how transformative that was to me. And I was just very inspired to give back that to others. And so I think for people that I work with as a therapist or in my workshops, they might not be, on ventilators or, struggling with their actual physical breath, but they could be out of their own breath in a metaphorical sense.
Mhm.
And so kind of helping people to reinvigorate, that life force within. And so that's been the biggest duty that I have. And I think there's two different types of people. There's givers and takers. And I think with an NDE, it could have been very easy for me to just kind of take this experience and put myself at somewhere remote. But I understood that this wasn't about me. This was something that I was here to just get off my chest and to give over to others and to really find the most depth that I have to be the best that I can be to transform and help others transform their lives.
Right. It's
And that's the
a
task. Yeah.
responsibility that you took on.
Right. And so this life, which could be seen as very mundane or frivolous, was anything but that. There's so much behind the scenes, and I know you could attest to this that we just don't see with our physical eyes, but there's just so much behind this life that what we're viewing or what we're valuing is comical in the broader sense of things.
So is.
It really, like, what we're seeing is just so beyond limited, and having an NDE is just. It just reminded me of something that I might have forgotten at times, even as a young infant. And so I think if we were meant to have that totally clear 24/7, then we wouldn't be here. So we have to have some degree of blinders on and forgetfulness. But if we can remember just a little bit, wow. And I've got a feeling, people who are listening to us, there's obviously something that is inside of them that remembers this. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here today.
Right.
They could say they're as skeptical as anything, but they still come back because there's something there that, however big or small, that feels that this is very familiar. This resonates, and so
I couldn't
that's the
agree
goal
more
of
with
MDEs.
that.
Yeah,
I find myself so deep and thick into my human experience sometimes. And I've pulled myself out of these experiences, reminding myself, like, whoa, you're taking this way too seriously.
right.
Like,
Yeah,
there,
it's part
yeah,
of like a movie. We're
Ex-
actors in the movie.
and Natalie knows I work with Natalie regularly, and I get so caught up in my humanness that I have to be like shook a little bit, like, hey,
Right.
remember why you're here and remember what this is all about. But also, I love the fact that I get to be human and have this experience, and I want to feel all the things, because we don't get to have these experiences and feel these emotions and have these up and downs in any other way than this human experience.
Oh, sure. I don't know. I mean, I like to name drop a lot, and it's not an advertisement for people. I know we've got enough commercials in our world, but I'm a big big fan of John Holland, and I know his inner circle team, but he once said something very profound that we're here to have both. I've heard it said differently,
Mhm.
but in very practical layman's terms, we have both the human part and the spiritual part, and they're both to be balanced. Where no, it's great to be meditating and chanting all day, but that could be something we could do, but we're also here to also be human.
Mhm.
And I don't know about you, but there's great depth from the upper etherical energies and the angelic realm, and all that stuff is great. But I think the greatest spirituality that we could have is from our life itself and our connections and our adventures and our substance. So
Absolutely.
it's like, we could contemplate all this stuff, but we're here to be here and to live this life here too. Um, Otherwise, we're just there all the time and we're not here. So
That's
like,
right.
what's the point of being here? So I think that should be something that uplifts and enhance, but not something that we have to kind of evade this experience. Because I do see it a lot where it's very comforting. And for us end of years, we get homesick from there. We almost just want to be there, but life has a funny way of like grounding us and putting us back. And I don't know, April season comes around every year, and tax seasons, and all this stuff that reminds us, like, whoa, okay, we're still on this earth plane, and there's still a lot of stuff going on here. And so
Right.
that's important.
Natalie, that reminds me because I'm always like in that space with you. I'm so done being here
She said that.
because once you understand where you're going after this, or you just even having that feeling like in your heart, being here can be so challenging at times. Outside of
Yeah.
already being challenging being a human, right?
I can, but and in the Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder, that exact predicament was the inspiration behind me writing it. Where I say, when, let's say, you lose a loved one, there's undeniable evidence that points that there's life after death.
Mhm.
But for us to find life after their death, or to
Right.
find, that's the task at hand. So
Mhm.
that's not a question, but how do we integrate that into this? That becomes a task at hand. And so I'm a big fan of, I don't like to use the word fan, but I'm a big ascriber, and something that really aligns with me is really, Zen Buddhism, and just the way of the Dalai Lama and the Tibetan, kind of vantage point of life. And why I say that, because it really aligns as my work as a therapist. Because people ask me, what do I do? And in my mind, I just say I'm a Buddhist monk all day that happens to get health insurance and be able to help clients in different ways. But in a sense, I'm not like retreating from society. I roll up my sleeves to the most difficult, high risk cases, here in Long Island and beyond. But I think, in essence, a lot of this life is based off of Buddhism, which is about cognitive reframing. Right, in a sense, like, we have like one vantage point of reality, and we could see it that way. But I think each and every day is an opportunity to even see it in a different way, in a higher way. And so it's not to ignore what we actually are seeing. Two things could be true at the same time, but to find ways to continuously pivot how we see that. And when we get into that better habit, that just becomes a file of who we are, and eventually just our lenses are that much sharper and deeper with this life. So I see it as a great opportunity to really enhance who we are, and to broaden that, and to just be more in alignment with this heavenly consciousness. So we don't have to wait to there, that we already, are emitting those forces. We're connected to it. We're inseparable of it within this life.
Well, and it's said that as you work on yourself when you're with like a client or a patient, as you stay in that higher resonance, it affects them, and it will
Absolutely.
really just rub off on that. And that
Right.
ability to be equanimous in some difficult situations when someone is not, and you're like, well, I can see you're really struggling over there. Suffering
Right.
through that.
Right. But it's always gentle reminders. Like, I use my NDE, at least to myself, like, however bad things get, it allows me to pivot and just say, okay, going through this is a weight of my soul. It's going to stretch my
Mhm.
soul. I can never be harmed at the end of the day. I'm just having this experience and knowing what that's like. And this experience isn't just for me. And I think within this life and the afterlife, it's the same, that we're not just going through it for us, but for ourselves to be able to help people. Because hopefully in this life and the afterlife, we could be higher guides. And so we could help people by traveling those roads and maybe knowing those potholes and knowing exactly what it was like. And it really could enhance our eternity. So I think if anything, this is, you could say, two ways, as just feeling imprisoned by this, or see this as an opportunity. Either way, whenever you see, you're right. And the way that you see it, it's just a matter of skillfulness and which way do you want to see things. And I say this during every interview, but it just doesn't change, where, Wayne would always say in every single interview or workshop, pretty much, it's like when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Mhm.
That's it. Drop the mic. That's it. No, say no more.
I actually
that's it.
have that typed up in a frame at my desk
That's it.
because it's
Yeah.
so important to remember.
He was amazing. I mean, we had some like really high level teachers, and some of them are great, but like, at least to me, like Wayne was just like, wow, he was really an ascended master and just a wordsmith and someone who just said things, saw things in such a deep level. Like he was incredible. Still is. His words still live with
Wherever
us.
his work's
Yeah.
still with us, and
It really does.
he's obviously still with us from our belief, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I
It's
love
from-
the knowing of just like we like can't reach out and touch our loved ones in spirit, but they're like literally sitting right here with us. And
Right.
having that
right.
knowing is just it just feels so good.
It's funny because his daughters just wrote a book called Knowing, which is about their relationship, I guess, with him and, and him in the afterlife. And so you're very connected. But yeah, I think there's such a beauty for people who could transform a belief to a faith to an undeniable knowing.
Yes.
So yeah, and a lot of people, their vantage of reality is on physical, but even that could be questioned. It's like, I always ask participants, where are you right now? And they'll say, I'm sitting in the chair. And they say, well, are you really in that chair? Are you really in that body? Because that chair happens to be in a room, which is in a house, which is on a massive expanding planet, which is going around the sun. So even with our own physical eyes, we forget how limiting we're seeing things. Imagine how that is with those unseen force fields, the higher realms. So yeah.
Were you going to say something, Natalie?
Well, I was just thinking about Wayne Dyer. I'm often saying things are in divine order, and it was from one of his books that I got that. That was one of the profound things from his book that says it's all in divine order.
Right.
And so that's maybe one of my pivot tricks, my pivot points, is to say, well, it's all in divine order. I don't completely understand how this or that is in divine order. I just know that it is. And it's very affirming.
We say that so often, don't we?
Yes. That's right. I got it from Wayne Dyer.
Right.
Who got it from bigger, higher things too.
Trust is crucial.
Mm-hmm.
And our relationship with the nature of reality is the most pivotal vantage point we could have. I mean, Einstein himself would say, like, the most important question that is governing our lives is our viewpoint on life. Is life here to support us, or the universe here to support us, however you frame it? Is it against us, or is it a place of kind of in between ambivalence? And how we view life will allow us to really navigate those challenges. Is there a greater intelligence beyond what meets the eye, or is this all just a random experience of masochism and just endless suffering and pain? So it's and I think we have to allow ourselves to have human moments too, where we could have really difficult days, and we could really go south, and we could self-sabotage or self-inflict wounds, but we're again given another day tomorrow. And I always say, it's just, progress is not a straight trajectory. I think people, at least in this field, they get so caught up in being type A personalities and perfectionists that that's antithetical of spirituality. I think opposites, but spirituality is really about accepting where you're at and meeting yourself where you're at in your pure raw form, and progressing from that place.
I'm curious how your religious aspect of your life commingles with your spiritual aspect.
It really messed me up. No.
Well, some people it can. So
No,
I always like to
no,
know how they
no,
go
no,
together.
no. Yeah, no, I grew up like, modern Orthodox, and within Judaism, there's different levels. So when you say that, people think that I was Hasidic or had the curls or the hats, but it wasn't like that. But it was very like a strict lifestyle where it's like, and some of the stuff made complete sense, and it was almost like a little bit of the things that you see within the Amish culture, one day a week with the Sabbath. But like, a lot of the dietary laws were very strict. It's very much about prayer and service, community. But there was a dogmatic element to it that I just could never do and never like ascribe to. But there was so much also beauty within the religion that I think got lost, like any other religion, with power and control and dogma and politics, that just really gets in the way of it. And so I think in a way, it just allowed me to understand one path up the mountain that some people take, but I think it's a lot more exciting to take the journey within and to really have life on a more personal basis. So I think growing up with religion was a trickle of spirituality, but it wasn't personalized. It was just almost like a collective belief system, but it wasn't personal. Where spirituality is more personal. It speaks directly to you, really scripted to you, and it's a personal connection to the divine, and it's very empowering. And I think with religion, it's almost kind of like you have to like climb the mountain to get close to God, but God isn't there on the bottom, is not there in the middle. Probably more needed there than at the top, if that's what you think you are. So I think spirituality really allowed a lot more empowering belief system, and there had to be some healing and relationship damage control with the interpretation of God that I was handed with what I knew in my heart. And I think that helped, but definitely a lot of healing, because I love what Oprah says, where it's like, wow, look at God in the Bible, it seems like a chauvinistic, judgmental, jealous, vengeful kind of God, and that's like furthest thing from what we experience, when we really connect on a deeper level to the stuff.
Complete opposite, yes.
Yeah.
That's what's always amazed me since I've had my experience, and also experimenting with different types of religions, the fear that is placed on us,
Right.
usually,
Right.
that we can't live authentically because we're so afraid to. We're so
Right.
afraid to connect to our true selves because it's not the way that God would want it to be.
Right. And NDEs are very empowering for people because they, really allow a transcendence of a miracle, which is that great shift from fear to love and to understand the nature of reality. And God is not, fear-based, or, it's not our projection images of our parents or our teachers onto God. It's something far beyond that. But I think a lot of people look at God as like for the human lens and not so much the higher spiritual lens, and that's problematic when it's not higher than this realm or, beyond this in a way. So if anything, it was the most understanding, loving, accepting, force of energy that is there, that's inside of all of us. So the more that we could remember that as a part of ourselves. Yes, I am on TikTok. I saw
As
that coming
you
up, but
stream,
yeah.
social is your
I just, I'm very old school. I'm a young guy, but I'm very old school. But people just tell me to go on this TikTok, and I made one. I was just like blown away by what's out there, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna focus my energy, kind of like life, and like what you focus on, that's your reality. And it's been a great venue for the last couple of weeks. I really do like the platform. But
It can
Yeah.
be fun if you're in the right algorithms.
Right. Yeah, yeah. But it could be like a Gen Z dance party too, and I'm just like, all
Yeah.
right, that's your thing, cool. But it's like
Maybe
we're
you need
totally
to
focused.
dance during your videos, Jacob.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Do a
yeah,
little
yeah.
shimmy and shake
Yeah, yeah.
right.
Why
See
not? Why
what it
not?
does
That's
for your followers.
dancing is very liberating too. We
Yeah.
could all get like become like the Tin Man or whatever. So when you dance, it's like you feel like very much in flow, and when
Yeah.
you
I'm
flow,
a
your energy
fan.
will go. So yeah,
I say when in doubt, dance it out. We have
yeah,
dance parties often.
yeah. I used to go to a yoga studio, and they used to have just strict Friday night dancing, where it wasn't like formal dancing, but honestly, you just would go
Free flow.
just yeah, and it sounds a little bit cultish, but that wasn't the case. It was very liberating, and it broke down a lot of your tension that you were holding on to, and just afterwards you just felt such a catharsis, and you felt
Yes.
so connected. So within the body there's great wisdom, and I from my NDE I recognize the body and the brain is just a filter between the two worlds. And so the more open your body is, spirit will really come through a lot clearer and not be as inhibited.
Yes.
So
I feel closer to the spirit world when I am dancing than any other time. It's just a way for me to connect and move the energy. I really, it is so healing for me to do that.
oh yeah, yeah, no, it's great, and you don't have to have a big audience. You can do it privately, but um I
Oh,
do
yeah,
it.
I've danced with Natalie before.
That's
Yeah, no,
dance parties in the
it's cool
kitchen.
too. I do it in front of the people that I'm most comfortable with, and
Mhm.
my girlfriend I've been dating for 7 years. She's like, I'm the only one who knows this side of you. Like
Aw.
I'll do like silly things when like the Burger King commercial comes on. I'll like do like funny dance. That's what it's about. You have to be childlike. You have to be um, have that beginner's mind and that just creativity. I think we get so stiff as adults, and that's a problem. We just
Yeah.
shut down creativity. We shut down that flow. And so kind of dancing is kind of like taking that piece of wood out of the water and just allowing the river to flow. So
Yes, I
uh,
love that.
Beautifully said.
That is
uh,
so good. We actually have a question from the chat room on YouTube. Is there something after the soul, like reincarnation or something else?
I thought they were going to ask me to dance. I mean, that's at the end of the show. But I'm going
We
to read
wouldn't
this
be
again.
disappointed.
No.
The question is there something after the soul, like reincarnation or something else? Absolutely. And maybe you guys could attest with this. There is clear evidential data, that will really point to the fact that reincarnation is not some hippie thing from the 60s, but it's real and evident. And I would highly suggest looking particularly at the University of Virginia. They have a whole case studies of different archived case studies of reincarnation. And if you really study some of these case studies, it is incredible. Why I say that is there's incredible points of validation that you just couldn't find through the internet. I mean, I've heard of different case studies where people remembered like where they lived, what town, what street, and they go to that town. They're able to walk through the town, and they even have reunification with people of that lifetime that they remembered, in this lifetime. And even I mentioned the Dalai Lama before, but when he was just a very young child, in order for him, to be the Dalai Lama, he had to have pieces of evidence that pointed to his recollection of being, the Dalai Lama in other lifetimes, and he was able to have clear recall and pass the test with flying colors. So, absolutely, the reincarnation is evident, and I do speak about that in Life After Breath and a little bit in the Wisdom of Jacob's Ladder. But if you are interested, I do past life regressions, which is different from a past life reading, but past life regressions is just a form of hypnosis that helps people to go, into past lives. So, but undeniable at this point that, before this we are now, and after this we will be.
So, what do you find people benefit from a past life?
Regression.
Yeah. through that process of going into
Yeah,
the past life, what's the benefit that they gain?
tons. This isn't an advertisement for my business. I'm busy enough as it is, but tons. I would say from the ground up, I certainly have dealt with clients who, per se, let's say they have a very difficult relationship with their mother, their sister, whatever that is, and they just have no idea why this person is so difficult. Or on the opposite spectrum, like, wow, I'm really getting along with this person, but there's just something beyond this life. I just met this person, we connect. So it could give great insight on an emotional level, social level, um, just in terms of our talents, our greater gifts, some of our beyond that, maybe some of our purpose for understanding um, different lessons that we've experienced so that messages are no longer needed to be repeated. I'll say that again. Lessons to be embraced so that those messages don't need to be repeated in these lifetimes. So it creates a lot more awareness of maybe some of those prior chapters of our book so that we could write a new indifferent chapter and even an encyclopedia within this life, right? So
Oh, true.
I'm on book number 2, so I'm working towards that. So yeah.
Some of the most fascinating reincarnation stories that I've heard of is when someone has been reincarnated into this experience, but their past experience, they had been murdered, and they've gone and literally solved the case through evidence of remembering their past life. Have you heard of stories
That
like that?
that's
think that's so
fascinating. I
amazing.
haven't heard of that.
Hmm.
I have to check on that. I will disclose that I overheard you guys before the show talking about suicide, and this is obviously a very sensitive topic for many people because much like overdose, I think at this era in time, pretty much we all know someone, whether that be someone in the public forum or someone more intimately who has either struggled with it through attempts or have completed it. And so
Right.
it's very personal to us all. But something like suicide, I'm often asked by parents, are they in purgatory? Are they judged? And so I'm certainly not a psychic medium professionally, but I do have intuitive capabilities. But within my own last lifetime, I went down that path where I completed suicide, and this has been evidentially validated through various different intuitives and mediums who knew me before I was an aspiring C-list celebrity. But they knew me before my books and all this stuff, and then I was just a random guy, but they were hitting on the same thing that I saw reoccurring as a kid in my NDE and as an adult, like the same descriptions. And so that was clear points of evidence. But I know my NDE is very much tied into that last lifetime in a sense that the message of the NDE that so many people have had and that I've learned that kind of like when I completed suicide, I just felt that my back was against the wall. There was no hope. There was no anything out of it. And it was too many bricks that I was holding on to that I just couldn't hold on to anymore. And so the NDE, I kind of look at it as in a similar way to, that situation where I was suffocating. There was nothing. But then I decided to let go and to surrender to a greater force. And that saved my life. And I think for people who are going through mental health struggles, who are, going through ideations, it's incredibly invaluable to understand that strength is not holding on, but strength is in the ability to let go and to seek help, to seek assistance from those in the upper etherical levels to those professionals, who are there to support you, that you don't have to do this alone, if anything else. But yes, in those moments, I was not judged. I was not put in purgatory. I was given opportunity. I was showered with unconditional love. And so this life is very much about, we live in a capitalistic society. So it's almost kind of like we judge ourselves based off of what we're doing and getting ahead, and we have judgments off of who we are and our identity. But, we're loved by our own being, not as much as our own doing, if that makes sense. And there's being beyond our doing. The idea is to intertwine the two, right? We want to, when we're in our doing, we want to involve our own being, but beyond this lifetime, beyond our actions, there's an infinite spiritual part of us that is forever interconnected to the divine, that goes far beyond this human experience, if that makes sense.
Hopefully our doing is definitely informed by our being.
Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, so you definitely see the two paths that some take, where it's all doing, and it's not their fault. It's like
No.
growing up from a young age where we taught that, hey, you're good enough, but oh yeah, you get to see on that test, you're stupid, you're not good. We were
Right.
taught, unconditional transactional identity based off of what we were doing, and so we have to go beyond that. And I don't know about you, but most of my clients that come to me have a very low sense of self-worth and self-esteem. I can't blame them. The world that we lived in has really shaped that and has very much been a disempowering vantage point that has impacted their self-esteem. And so the idea is to transform people for the world that we live in, to not to create their mind, but their own beautiful minds to create their world. And when we do that, it's quite a different shift that could happen in people's lives.
Oh, yes.
Where the both of you work with people one-on-one in grief, in mental health, where I more of introduced to them, and then I guide them to people like you guys,
Right.
who have been trained to work in those situations.
Right.
But say someone like me or one of our listeners did have an interaction with someone who is in that state of despair or whatever that looked like, what would be the best way that we could approach them that would be beneficial to them? Whether it be they were contemplating suicide or they were having a mental breakdown or whatever that looked like, how could we show up and support people in those spaces?
I think for the person, they're expecting a reaction. They're expecting, almost someone to freak out. So to not have that reaction, but to always lie in compassion and just allow them to express what they have without judgment. Like we said before, I consider myself as a therapist to be a paid Buddhist. That's what I do, and so that Buddhist mindset where you're living life through compassion, empathy, understanding. And by understanding, you put yourself under that person. You understand. So you're not looking down at that person through judgment, but you're looking up at them. And we look up at people, that's the lens of God. God does not look down on us. God looks up at us with our infinite beauty and who we are. Yes, from a pure practical standpoint, you do want to listen to them, and also you just want to really, manage safety. And there's so many hotlines and people that could support them, but I do believe risk management is very important, and early indication on it, and to remove some of the fears that people have and the stigma that they have, and to connect them with the right support system who is not going to judge them, but is going to accept where they are and to be there. And I think in a way, this life, yes, you want to embody that Zen Buddhist monk, but we also want to embody angels too, where some people, you just meet them and you just say, all right, I don't have to wait for angels. I'm already seeing one in front of me, because they just carry that spirit in them. They are so devoted to what they do, and they're just here to love, serve, and remember. That's it. And nothing else. And so there are those people out there. And I found incredible impact when you come at someone through this, and you carry that energy, that they all of a sudden, are able to have this purge and release, and they feel heard, they feel validated, and then after that, it's balancing the emotional part to have that catharsis, but also getting objective, finding ways to look at this through a different lens to move the needle a little bit. But crisis management is huge, in that early part, I think that's big.
It's true. I do find that you can't solve the problem in the crisis. Often the crisis, as you say, the crisis management is moving them through and moving those intense emotional waves and letting those move all the way through, purge, dissipate, and then the skill building is important for the person, because a lot of times people bounce from crisis to crisis to crisis.
Absolutely.
Not as much of that, it's important to build those skills in between. So
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't separate mental health and physical health. I see the two as one and the same, but as a therapist, I look at them the same way. I think there's a great deal of stigma on mental health. For instance, if someone, was having a heart attack, they'd be rushed to the, medical hospital.
Right.
But if you're having the equivalent of a heart attack on an inner level, it's like, all right, I'll just kind of let that go. I'll put that in the ethers. I don't want to address that. I feel ashamed of addressing that. And so there's still this degree of stigma. But once you're able to understand and equate the two, how the two are one and the same, you could address them. And so being able, much like if we're going through something physically, we go to an outpatient doctor, but something more severe, that's where places where I work, in the psychiatric hospital come into play. Unfortunately, media through Hollywood has really done a number in a lot of psychiatric hospitals, where they just see them as going into the blue room and strap them. And it's not the case, it's not. And working in one, I know it's not. I mean, maybe back in the day it was different, but at least where I work, it's the most incredible setting. And people really are able to transform their lives. But and I think also they're opening up to some of this stuff too. I just kind of think of, for instance, how many potential, George Andersons or Lisa Williams or Teresa Caputos were deprived of society because they were they confused sick with psychic, right? And so they labeled what they were going through as sick instead of something that was real. So therapists are getting more open to this stuff where that, yes, you could have auditory visual hallucinations, but some of this stuff could also be beyond that. It could be very real and evidential. It's not all psychotic break,
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because I find like in most cases where we have the center that we work in, I would say a majority of the people definitely have more of the gift aspect, the ability aspect than the mental health aspect. And they just don't know what it is or how to handle it. And once we are able to have those conversations with them, we can navigate through their experience with them a lot differently.
Absolutely. I think when it's more dangerous or very low energy or persecutory, that's, more of the psychosis. But when it's like aligned with something loving and healing, how could, that's not that, so some things really get misdiagnosed and that could change the whole trajectory of a life. I'm sure it has, where people back in the early 1900s were just overly medicated and they were just probably institutionalized and maybe that person could have been an Edgar Cayce or a Nostradamus. And so, I think now mental health is recognizing that there is intuition, that's undeniable part of our, brain, and their understanding the pineal gland is, something real, too. So it's kind of like warming up a body of water in an ocean. It takes time, but eventually, the stuff is taken forward and it's heating up. But I like the multidisciplinary approach, and it's kind of like the military, where you have the Air Force, you have the Navy, you have all these people in their own disciplines, with the same intentions, just with a different style and kind of way of looking at things. I think that's great.
On the flip side of being someone who's there for someone else, how can we be there for ourselves and strengthen our own mental health and wellness?
Absolutely. Good question. I think we have to equate the cell phone with the soul phone. By that, I mean, people, if your battery on your cell phone was 5 to 10%, most people would freak out because that's our lifeline in this world. But yet if our own cell phone batteries were that low, it's like, we'll push it aside, and so many people, they, inherit some patterns of their parents where they just see their parents as martyrs and they'll do whatever for the greater good. And that is a parent. Yeah, you have to sacrifice almost everything as a parent, but you can't give from an empty cup and you can't save someone from drowning if you're drowning yourself. So it really starts with you. And, self-care is not selfish, but it's really selfless, because the better you are, the better we are. So some practical things could be, you know, and even on Netflix, they have like this thing called Headspace. Like, do that. That's great. I mean, some of the absent-minded stuff, William Harry stuff is great too. But at least on Netflix, there's all these great documentaries. Like, I was just watching a documentary on the Dalai Lama and the late Desmond Tutu of South Africa and their relationship, and it was fascinating. So, I think today the internet is a double-edged sword, where there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of crud, but there's also a lot of healing accessible, and we want to focus on. It's a meditation, as simple as it is, doing some self-care. I mean, today I just took a mental health day and I did a 90-minute massage, and it was great, and it wasn't like breaking my bank account. So it's a matter of value, and people say don't have money will be the same ones, spending X amount of money on Heinekens or cigarettes or whatever. So it's a matter of triage and priority.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to self-respect, because you wouldn't go into the Vatican with dirty shoes. You'd have a great deal of respect for it. When it comes to our body, we'll trample it, we'll bury it, we'll abuse it. And, once you have self-respect for your body and your mind, your spirit, you'll treat it with such a different, pair of hands,
Oh, my goodness, Jacob, you're just full of beautiful information
No,
for
he's
us
highly
tonight.
quotable.
Well, you just have so much to offer.
Hey, I didn't say it. The universe just went through me. Yeah. Quote the universe, right?
I understand that.
It's funny because
the universe comes out.
Yeah, it's funny because I think in this life we come empty, and we almost kind of like want to leave empty, but we want to give over everything that we have in our life. We want to, like, I view it's like we have this heavy backpack in a way that we're holding on to, and at the end of the day we want to let go of everything. We just want to stop at the end of the day saying I have nothing left to give. But we continuously could be like a solar being. We could continuously replenish ourselves through connecting from the inside out into this deep level within, and our deep power, and that could be our guiding force. But it's really about the vantage point. I think so many people have to check which angle they're looking at life. Like, are they facing towards the outside? You face towards the outside, you'll find all kinds of problems. But if you turn inward and you live your life from that way, it's such a different place to live from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you offer so much as an individual and as a service to others. What are some of the things that you offer so we can share with the audience, and also how they would be able to get your books and get in touch with you?
Yeah. If people are interested, they could always go to my website at jacoblcooper.com. That's jacoblcooper.com. And there you could find my social media links, as well as my email address. But through private online and in-person sessions, because I live in New York, here in Long Island, I do offer, therapy, a service called Consciousness Consulting. I do mindfulness groups and individual, and as well as past life regression. And I do a lot of different events, from book signings to, hopefully inspirational talks on different subjects of grief and insight and stuff like that. So yeah, I have a couple things planned. I'm going to be in Chicago mid-May coming up. I'm going to be in Connecticut coming on Palm Sunday in April, and I'm trying to do something in LA in the fall. So I think it's great to travel and just meet different people, but recognize how we're all just connecting to the same thing, no matter where you are on the planet. Yeah, it's amazing.
Come to Salt Lake City.
Yes.
I'd love to. Is that where you guys are located?
Yes.
We're close, yes.
I was about to say it's got to be out west, because it's like 12 o'clock, at night here on the East Coast. I'm just exaggerating, but it had to be on the West Coast. But Utah has always been calling me. I have a friend in Utah who's actually an NDEer. Two of them. Have you ever heard of Jeffrey Olson?
Yes.
Yeah, Jeffrey Olson.
I tried to get him on the show a couple of times. Our schedules haven't aligned.
Jeffrey's great. If you can't get him, and the doctor who operated him on his NDE is also great too, is Dr. Jeff O'Driscoll. And so they always do events together.
Yep.
And I know the IANDS had, I think, an event last year in Salt Lake City, if I'm not mistaken, too. So
yeah, there's quite a bit going on here.
Yes,
If
there
you ever
is.
find your way in this direction, we would love to visit with you.
It would be
Yeah.
wonderful.
You're quite a beautiful soul, Jacob. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for spending time with us.
I'll find some music and I'll go to the Jazz games with you. How about that, right?
Woo-hoo, let's do it.
I remember as a kid how upset, and I loved Michael Jordan, but just how upset I was. I was like crying when the Jazz lost. And I don't mean to like pour salt on the wound for our Utah friends, but
It was
I
sad
was so
times.
rooting,
Sad.
for the mailman in Stockton and Jeff
Yes.
Hornacek and all them boys, to just that was
Back in the
frustrating.
day.
It still
Back
hurts.
in the
Yeah.
day. Old school
Yeah.
jazz.
Yeah. I know the whole team.
Yeah. Yeah. All of them. It would be really neat though. I hope our paths cross again, Jacob. You really are wonderful, and we really do appreciate our time with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for all that you do. Really, really, thank you. You guys are incredible. And yes, we do have to meet. We have to talk after about getting my butt out to Utah. Yeah,
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, now you know how to reach us.
yeah. Thank you.
And
All
to
right.
all of you, our wanderers who spent this time with us tonight, we're in so much gratitude for you and the way that you show up for us. We're so grateful. And next week, we'll be back. So we hope you join us. Until then, be good to yourself and be good to each other. Good night.